Hi everybody, sumchief here. Today we're looking at quadratics. So if we can't factor a quadratic, what we're going to do? Well, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So when we're using the quadratic formula, what we need to understand is what is it we're trying to achieve and what does the answer actually mean? So let's have a look at it. So why do we need the quadratic formula? Well, the most common one is to solve for x, and so solve for when y equals 0. Quadratic formula we've got here, x equals minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I've got three examples of quadratics here. I've got 3x squared plus 5x plus 3, which is this one, minus 5x squared plus 6x minus 1, which is this one. You know it's this one because the quadratic looks like it's upside down, and that's because we've got the minus 5 sign here. And then the other one is 4x squared plus 4x plus 1, which is this one here. And you'll notice that this one crosses the x-axis twice, this being the x-axis, this being the y-axis. This one crosses it once, and this one doesn't cross it at all. So why does this happen? Well, let's have a look. So every quadratic is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a does not equal 0. And there's two reasons for that. First one is when a equals 0, we're just left with a linear graph, which is just a nice simple straight line, which will look something like this. Okay, so let's look into it a little bit further. So, got an example of a quadratic here, which is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is minus 5, the b is 6, and the c is minus 1. So I've written them down for you here. And you'll see here now with the quadratic formula, x equals minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The 2a being a crucial bit here. Now if a in the quadratic was 0, you could not have it here because 2 times 0 is 0. So you can't have that. So that's another reason why you can't have a 0 for the x squared. So anyway, we've this quadratic here now, we've got minus 5x squared plus 6x minus 1. We've got the values here written down. So the first thing you want to do is just break it down into what the a, the b and the c is, and that makes this next stage a lot easier. So now what you're going to do is plug in the values for the b, the a and the c, and you'll see there's two b values, two a values and one c value. So let's go and find the a values. Minus 5, so we got one here, b is plus 6, so we put one in here and one here. Notice that that minus sign is not included in the b value because it's minus b, not just b. And c equals minus 1, just one value for the c, which is here. C is minus 1. Okay, so now let's just multiply out and see where we get to. So we get minus 6 plus or minus square root 6 squared is 36, and then here we've got the 4ac, so we've got minus 5 times minus 1, which is plus 5, times minus 4, which is 20. So we've got square root of 36 minus 20, as in the minus 4ac minus 20. And the 2 times minus 5 gives minus 10. Okay, let's just try and simplify it up a little bit more. Noticing that 36 minus 20 is 16. So the square root is 16. Minus 6 stays as it is, the minus 10 stays as it is. So that's pretty straightforward. So now what we look at here for now is the determinant of this function here is inside the square root. So it's 16. So b squared minus 4ac in this case equals 16. So let's just write that down. 4ac equals 16. And that's important for us when we're trying to solve the quadratic. So back to our function, simplified up a little bit. So we notice we've got minus 6, a 16, and a minus 10. So the square root is 16 there, so that's just 4. So now we'll plug that into the equation, and we get minus 6 plus or minus 4 divided by minus 10. We notice that all of these functions here are factors of 2, so we can divide through by 2. So that will just simply get to us minus 3 plus or minus 2 divided by minus 5. And then because we've got a minus sign here and a minus sign here, we can divide through by minus 1. So we thus cancel in the minus signs. So we got 3 plus or minus 2 divided by 5. So now because we got the plus or minus sign here, we've got two answers. So we use one with the plus, one with the minus. So 3 plus 2 equals 5, which translates to 5 over 5, which is simply 1. So that's okay. So we've got one solution, 1. The other one, we use the minus sign. So 3 minus 2 divided by 5 gets us to 1 over 5. So we've got two solutions. So on to looking at the graph. You see where the quadratic crosses the x-axis. We've got one here, one here. So the key is here we've got two solutions. And this value here for the b squared minus 4ac is the key. So because this value here is 16, i.e. larger than 0, you always get two solutions. So if we look closely at the graph, we've got one at 1 and the other one is at a fifth, thus proving our answer. Solution to the minus 5x squared plus 6x minus 1 is x equals 1 and x equals 1/5. So when x is either of those values, the quadratic is at 0. Okay, so let's have a look at another one. So this time we've got 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. So a is 1, b is 4, c is 1. Got them written down here. Got the quadratic here. So let's not wait any longer. Let's just plug in the values for a. So a is here and here. So we plug in here and here. B, which is plus 4, which is here and here. 4 goes there and a 4 goes there. C, just one value, which is at the end there and there. So now we've got x equals minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4 times plus 4 times plus 1 divided by 2 plus 4. So let's just simplify that up a little bit. And now we get x equals minus 4. 4 squared is 16. 4 times 1 is 4. Times 4 is 16. So then we plug in another 16. And 2 times 4 is just simply 8. So we just type in the 8 here. So now we get square root of 16 minus 16, which is 0. So now we've got square root of 0 here. So that's a little bit different to the last one we did. So we've got minus 4 plus or minus square root of 0 divided by 8. Simplify this up a little bit because we'll have two answers. So minus 4 plus 0 divided by 8 and minus 4 minus 0 divided by 8. Well, that's the same answer, isn't it? So we got minus 4 divided by 8. So therefore our answer is minus a half. So we'll only have one solution. So here we've got the b squared minus 4ac. So I'll just write this down for you. Equals 0. So when this is the case, b squared minus 4ac, you'll only get one solution. If you have a look at our graph here, on the x-axis, the graph only crosses at one place, which is minus a half, which proves our calculations of the quadratic formula correct, but there's only one solution. And that's always the case when b squared minus 4ac, i.e. the determinant, is equal to 0. Okay, so let's have a look at another case. So we got this one, 3x squared plus 5x plus 3. So we got a is 3, b is 5, c is 3. Now I've written them down here for you. Got the quadratic formula written down here ready. So we're just going to substitute all these values into the formula. So we got the a is plus 3, which goes here and here and here and here. So substitute them in. B is plus 5. Substitute that one in there and there, which is here and here. And the c with just one place, which is the c at the end, which is there. Okay, so now what we're going to do now is multiply everything out and see where we get to. Tidy everything up. So we've got minus 5, which stays the same, plus or minus, as always, 5 squared, which is 25. Now we work out the 4ac, so we've got 4 times plus 3, which is 12, times plus 3, which is 36. So 4 times 3 is 36. So we plug that in there, and 2 times 3 is 6, so that goes in there. Okay, so something a little bit different here now. We've got 25 minus 36, which comes to minus 11. That's looking a little bit suspicious there. And we've got minus 5 here, as we had, and the 6 is here, which we had. So now our formula says minus 5 plus or minus the square root of minus 11 divided by 6. And as we know, we can't find the square root of minus 11 because there is, after anything below 0, we cannot find the square root. Because if you times two numbers together, you always get a positive. So square root of minus 11 we can't get to. So I'm just going to write this down for you now. So the determinant, which is b squared minus 4ac, is less than 0. So when this is the case, when you get this here, because that's what's always going to be in square root, there is no solutions. So therefore, when that happens, you get no solutions. So let's have a look at the graph. And we see got the x-axis, which is up down here, and the quadratic, which is here, which has got a little bit of a gap here. So it's not touching the x-axis at any place, therefore proving that there is no solution. So our calculations in the quadratic formula, square root of minus 11, was correct. There we go. So we proved that when b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, there's no solutions. So there we go. Okay, please leave any comments below. Any solutions to a question you want to know, put them in the comment box. I'll do my best. So thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe. Thanks very much.